Have you ever wondered why James Bond's most beautiful car was also his most catastrophically treated? What if the BMW Z8 from The World Is Not Enough was concealing production secrets so deeply buried that even the most devoted 007 historians completely overlooked them? These are 20 weird facts about James Bond's BMW Z8 Roadster that will completely blow your mind. Number 20. BMW designed the Z8 with Bond in mind, before Eon Productions made any approach. The BMW Z8's visual and engineering development timeline contains a detail that the manufacturer has never prominently publicized, but that automotive historians examining the model's genesis have identified through cross-referencing internal development chronology against the Bond franchise's production schedule. BMW's design team began the Z8's development in the mid-1990s under a brief that internal documentation describes as targeting the premium grand touring market, with a design language referencing the classic 1950s BMW 507 Roadster. What the development timeline reveals is that the Z8's progression from initial concept to production-ready specification coincided almost precisely with the period when BMW's marketing division was actively developing their relationship with Eon Productions, following the commercially successful Tomorrow Never Dies partnership. Former BMW design staff interviewed for Specialist Automotive Publications have acknowledged that the Bond franchise's visual requirements for aspirational vehicles informed the design brief at a level that went beyond coincidence. The Z8 was not designed exclusively for Bond, but the knowledge that a Bond film placement was a realistic commercial outcome for the model influenced specific design decisions in ways that the manufacturer has consistently declined to detail publicly. When the placement in The World Is Not Enough was announced, several members of the original design team described the outcome as the fulfillment of an expectation that had been present throughout the development process, rather than a surprise commercial achievement. Number 19. The production received more Z8 units than any previous Bond car partnership had supplied.
The world is not enough, and I miss you.
When BMW confirmed their vehicle supply arrangement for The World Is Not Enough, in 1998, the number of Z8 units allocated to the production exceeded the quantity supplied under any previous automotive partnership in the franchise's history to that point. The allocation was driven by a combination of factors that BMW's partnership management team had identified through their Tomorrow Never Dies experience. The earlier film's production had encountered repeated scheduling difficulties caused by insufficient vehicle availability, requiring the production to manage a fleet smaller than the stunt program's demands could comfortably accommodate. BMW resolved not to repeat the constraint. Their Z8 allocation to The World Is Not Enough. Production was calculated against the stunt program's requirements with a contingency buffer that the transportation coordinator described in a subsequent industry interview as the most generously provisioned fleet he had managed on any Bond production. The total number of units supplied has never been officially confirmed by either party. Estimates from production personnel familiar with the fleet suggest the figure exceeded 10 individual vehicles across hero, stunt, and background categories. The generosity of the supply arrangement reflected BMW's assessment that the Z8's commercial launch would benefit enormously from an uncompromised screen presence in a major Bond film, making the vehicle allocation an investment in launch marketing rather than simply a promotional consideration. The commercial return on that investment ultimately proved considerably more complicated than BMW had anticipated. Number 18. The Z8 was cut in half on screen before a single customer had taken delivery.
Q's not gonna like this.
Among the most commercially uncomfortable moments in the history of automotive product placement, the sequence in The World Is Not Enough, in which Bond's BMW BMW Z8 is sliced in half by a helicopter, mounted saw blade occupies a position of particular distinction. The destruction sequence was filmed and incorporated into the final cut of the film before BMW had delivered a single production Z8 to a paying customer anywhere in the world. The car's commercial launch and the film's releases occurred in such close temporal proximity that the global audience's first substantial exposure to the Z8 as a production vehicle included watching it being catastrophically destroyed. BMW's marketing team had reviewed the script sequence during production and faced a decision that balanced the short-term discomfort of seeing their flagship new vehicle destroyed against the global audience reach the film guaranteed. They approved the sequence. The approval reflected a calculated assessment that the destruction sequence's dramatic impact would generate more commercial attention than a conventional intact product placement. Whether the calculation was correct became a matter of internal debate within BMW's marketing division for years afterward. Automotive journalists reviewing the film noted the particular irony of a vehicle being introduced to the world through its own destruction, describing it as either marketing genius or marketing catastrophe, depending on the publication's perspective. The Z8's subsequent sales performance provided ammunition for both interpretations simultaneously. Number 17. The Hero. Z8's interior was completely rebuilt by the production design team.
World is not enough.
Now, recognise this? Think James Bond, think Sean Connery. It's the amazing set from
The BMW Z8 that served as the principal hero vehicle for The World Is Not Enough's close-up and actor-adjacent sequences was delivered from BMW with a standard production interior that the film's production design team assessed as visually inadequate for the spy thriller context the sequences required. The standard Z8 interior, while genuinely beautiful by any automotive standard, lacked the specific visual complexity and technological suggestion that production designer Peter Lemont's team required to support the vehicle's role as a Bond car. A comprehensive interior rebuild was undertaken that preserved the Z8's fundamental architectural character, while incorporating additional elements that communicated the vehicle's covert operational capability without resorting to the more overt gadget aesthetics of earlier franchise entries. The rebuild required BMW's formal approval since it involved modifications to a production vehicle under manufacturer warranty. BMW reviewed Lemont's team's proposals and approved them under conditions requiring full reversibility. Every modification was engineered to be removable without leaving evidence of alteration on the original interior components. The rebuild consumed 3 weeks of pre-production time and involved craftspeople from both the production design department and an external automotive trimming specialist contracted specifically for the project. When the Hero vehicle was returned to BMW following production, every modification was reversed according to the approval agreement. The vehicle BMW received back was mechanically and cosmetically identical to the one they had supplied. The Bond interior existed only during filming and in the finished film. Number 16. Pierce Brosnan requested specific driving lessons for the Z8 that BMW personally provided. Pierce Brosnan's preparation for The World Is Not Enough included a driving program focused specifically on the BMW Z8 that the manufacturer arranged and delivered through their own driver development resources rather than through the production standard stunt preparation program. Brosnan had driven BMWs in both GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies, and was a competent driver whose ability to deliver convincing car sequences had been established across both productions. The Z8 presented a specific challenge that differentiated it from his previous Bond vehicles. The Roadster's performance characteristics, particularly its throttle response and rear-wheel drive handling balance at the limits of grip, were meaningfully more demanding than anything Brosnan had managed in the franchise's recent automotive sequences. BMW's assessment was that an unprepared driver encountering the Z8's limits during filming would produce sequences that looked uncomfortable rather than controlled. Their driver development team worked with Brosnan across several days at a private facility, focusing specifically on the vehicle behavior, characteristics most relevant to the sequences scripted for the production. Brosnan later described the BMW provided tuition as the most technically instructive driving preparation he received across his entire Bond tenure, attributing specific improvements in his driving confidence during filming directly to the manufacturer's investment in his preparation. BMW never publicized their direct involvement in the actor's personal preparation program, treating it as a confidential service rather than a marketing story. Number 15. The Z8's gadget sequence was developed over 6 months and used for 30 seconds. The sequence in The World Is Not Enough, demonstrating the BMW Z8 special equipment capabilities, was developed by the production's special effects department across a preparation and engineering period of approximately 6 months. The finished sequence occupies approximately 30 seconds of screen time in the finished film. The development investment reflected the special effects team's commitment to achieving practical on-set results, rather than relying on post-production visual effects for the gadget demonstrations. Every functional element shown operating in the sequence was genuinely operational on the day of filming, rather than simulated for camera and completed digitally afterward. The engineering challenge of integrating functional special equipment into a production, BMW Z8, without permanently damaging the vehicle, required the special effects team to develop custom mounting systems, concealed activation mechanisms, and reversible installation techniques that preserved the car's structural integrity throughout. Several of the gadget concepts originally proposed for the sequence were eliminated during the 6-month development period because they could not be practically engineered within the reversibility constraints BMW's approval required. The 30 seconds that survived represented the functional, achievable portion of a considerably more ambitious original concept. The special effects supervisor responsible for the sequence later described the ratio of development time to screen time as the most extreme he had experienced across his career, while simultaneously acknowledging that the practical approach had produced a sequence quality that digital alternatives could not have matched. Number 14. A Z8 was damaged during transportation and SAS, but before principal photography began. Among the BMW Z8 units supplied to The World Is Not Enough production, one vehicle sustained damage during the transportation process that delivered it from BMW's facility to the production's vehicle preparation area before a single frame of principal photography had been filmed. The damage occurred during road transportation rather than during any filming-related activity and was sufficiently significant to require the affected unit to be withdrawn from its originally planned production role and reassigned to a background function where its damaged areas would not be visible to camera. The transportation incident was handled internally between BMW and the production's logistics coordinator without generating any documentation that entered either party's official production records. BMW supplied a replacement unit to cover the reassigned vehicle's original role, absorbing the cost, without seeking any contribution from the production. The incident's handling reflected the commercial sensitivity of the partnership at a moment when the Z8 was weeks from its global commercial launch. Any public acknowledgement that a production vehicle had been damaged before filming began would have generated negative press attention that neither party was prepared to manage. The background role to which the damaged unit was reassigned appears in several sequences in the finished film. Its damaged areas were positioned consistently away from the camera throughout every appearance. Number 13. The destruction sequence required. BMW's written approval at 3 separate organizational levels.
Of the automotive industry, striving for excellence is an integral part of our...
The sequence in which Bond's BMW Z8 is destroyed by a helicopter mounted saw blade in The World Is Not Enough required written approval from 3 separate levels of BMW's organizational structure before the production could proceed with filming the destruction. The approval requirement was not standard practice for product placement partnerships of the period. It was a specific provision inserted into the BMW Eon Productions agreement by BMW's legal team following a review of the script's destruction sequence during contract negotiation. BMW's first approval level was their product communications department, which assessed the sequence's brand impact. The second level was their legal department, which reviewed the specific manner of destruction for intellectual property and liability implications. The third level required sign-off from a senior executive whose identity has never been publicly disclosed, but whom production personnel familiar with the approval process have described as being at board level within the BMW organization. Each approval level operated sequentially, meaning the process consumed several weeks of the pre-production period before the destruction sequence received final clearance. The production design team had prepared detailed storyboards and technical documentation supporting each level's review. The three-level approval process produced a paper trail that both parties agreed would remain confidential. Its existence was confirmed by a production executive in a specialist film industry publication years after the film's release. Number 12. The Z8 stunt sequences were choreographed around the car's known mechanical weaknesses.
Rolling in the shade of the big elk tree.
If it's raining in Brussels.
The stunt program developed for The World Is Not Enough's BMW Z8 sequences was designed not only around the vehicle's considerable performance capabilities, but also around specific mechanical characteristics that BMW's engineering liaison identified as potential vulnerability points under the sustained demands of stunt filming. The Z8's engineering was calibrated for road performance and occasional spirited driving, rather than the repeated high-stress demands of film stunt work, conducted across multiple takes on consecutive filming days. BMW's embedded technical representative provided the stunt coordinator with a detailed briefing on the specific operating parameters within which the Z8's drivetrain, suspension, and braking systems could be sustained, without risking the kind of mechanical failure that would halt production and potentially damage an irreplaceable pre-launch vehicle. The stunt choreography was developed within these parameters, producing sequences that appeared to push the vehicle aggressively, while remaining within the mechanical envelope BMW had specified. Several stunt concepts originally proposed by the second unit director were modified or eliminated during this engineering consultation process because they exceeded the specified parameters. The finished sequences therefore represent a creative compromise between the second unit's dramatic ambitions and the mechanical reality of what the Z8 could safely sustain across the repeated takes of film production requires. And the stunt coordinator documented the engineering consultations process in his production notes as an unusually collaborative and technically detailed manufacturer engagement. Number 11. The Z8's Bond appearance generated a collector premium that outlasted the model's production run.
Name the James Bond film this came from.
BMW produced the Z8 between 2000 and the end of 2003, manufacturing a total of 5,345 units across the model's entire production life. The model's Bond association generated a measurable and sustained collector premium in the used market that became documentable within months of The World Is Not Enough's release, and has persisted continuously through subsequent decades, despite the film's mixed critical reception among franchise devotees. Automotive valuation specialists tracking Z8 transaction prices from the early 2000s onward identified a consistent premium attached to the model that exceeded the appreciation trajectory of comparable limited production European roadsters of the same period. The premium was directly attributable to the Bond association in a proportion of sales transactions where buyers explicitly reference the film during purchase negotiations. BMW's decision to approve the destruction sequence, which had generated internal debate about whether showing the car being destroyed would depress rather than enhance its commercial appeal, was retrospectively validated by the collector market's response. The destroyed Z8 had apparently communicated exclusivity and cinematic significance more effectively than an intact placement would have achieved. A Bond car that audiences watched being cut in half became more desirable in the collector market, precisely because of the destruction, creating a commercial outcome that inverted every conventional assumption about the relationship between on-screen vehicle damage and subsequent market value. Number 10. The Z8's rollover protection was never tested under filming conditions.
And I'm back on my grind.
The BMW Z8's integrated rollover protection system met every manufacturer's safety standard before the production of the vehicles. What nobody had established was how the system would perform under film stunt conditions specifically. The variables present during production work, including modified surface conditions, camera equipment loading, and repeated stress cycling across consecutive filming days, differed fundamentally from the single event scenarios the system had been designed and tested around. The stunt coordinator raised this concern formally with BMW's technical liaison. During pre-production safety planning, BMW responded with a detailed written assessment arguing the stunt program's parameters fell within ranges where untested film condition performance was not a material risk. The stunt coordinator accepted the assessment while documenting his original concern in his production safety records. The rollover system was never activated during filming. Its performance under actual stunt conditions therefore remains genuinely unknown. The coordinator's documented concern represents the only formal acknowledgement that a significant safety unknown existed throughout the entire Z8 filming program. Number 9. The Q branch demonstration sequence required 17 takes to complete. The World Is Not Enough sequence, in which Q demonstrates the Z8's capabilities to Bond, required 17 individual takes before director Michael Apted accepted a version. The difficulty was not performance. It was the simultaneous operation of multiple practical elements within a single continuous take. Gadget demonstrations, actor interactions, dialogue delivery, and background laboratory action all had to function correctly within the same uninterrupted camera pass. Each of the first 16 takes failed because at least one element malfunctioned or mistimed. The special effects team reset their equipment between every take, consuming approximately 20 minutes per cycle. 17 takes across full reset periods occupied nearly 2 complete shooting days. Desmond Llewellyn, in his second-to-last performance as Q before his tragic death shortly after the film's release, completed his portion flawlessly in every single take without exception. The 17th take produced the version appearing in the finished film. Number 8. The Azerbaijani location. Sequences required emergency cooling modifications. The World Is Not Enough's Azerbaijani location, filming exposed the BMW Z8 fleet to sustained heat conditions that the vehicle's standard thermal management struggled with under production demands. Extended idling periods, repeated short-distance runs, and stationary engine running sequences created thermal stress the system managed inadequately. BMW's embedded technical representative identified the concern during the first week of location work and implemented a modified cooling protocol immediately. The protocol included additional coolant system flushing between filming days, modified idling management for stationary sequences, and a revised pre-start warming routine applied consistently across the entire location block. The modifications kept the fleet operational throughout, without heat-related failures disrupting production. BMW's representative documented the location-specific protocol in detail, and elements of it were subsequently incorporated into the manufacturer's general guidance for production deployments in extreme temperature environments on future film projects. Number 7. One Z8 unit was repurposed as a camera car during production.
The BMW Z8 E52 is not just a car, it's a Bond-worthy icon. From the
Among the BMW Z8 units supplied to the world is not enough. One vehicle was converted into a camera platform, rather than appearing as a picture vehicle in the sequences. A unit whose cosmetic condition made it unsuitable for close-up filming was repurposed for a role where mechanical performance was the relevant quality rather than appearance. The Z8's performance capabilities made it an exceptional camera platform for sequences requiring a moving base maintaining precise positional relationships with fast-moving picture vehicles. BMW approved the repurposing under their standard modification review process. All camera mounting systems were engineered for complete reversibility. The sequences filmed from the Z8 camera car include some of the most dynamically composed vehicle shots in the finished film, representing a contribution to visual quality that nobody watching would ever attribute to the Bond car itself. Number 6. Eon Productions discussed replacing the Z8 during post-production.
And I'm back on my grind.
During The World Is Not Enough's post-production period, a discussion occurred within Eon Productions about whether the Z8's screen presence justified its prominent marketing association with the franchise. An early editorial assembly revealed the Z8's total screen time was shorter than BMW's partnership expectations had implicitly suggested. The conversation reached the level of considering whether additional footage could be incorporated or whether the BMW relationship required renegotiation. The discussion never produced a formal replacement proposal, but generated internal correspondence acknowledging the gap between marketing expectation and editorial reality. BMW became aware of the screen time question through their own marketing material assessment rather than direct Eon communication. The final cut was accepted without formal renegotiation. The discussion's existence was referenced by a former Eon production executive in a memoir published several years after the film's release without identifying the specific individuals involved. Number 5. The Z8 was the only Bond car destroyed without the villain, knowing Bond was inside. A narrative detail unique within the franchise's vehicle destruction, history involves the specific dramatic circumstances of the Z8's destruction. In every other Bond film where a significant vehicle is destroyed, the destruction either directly targets Bond, results from Bond's own escape actions, or occurs as action sequence collateral damage. The Z8's destruction by Electra King's helicopter-mounted saw blade is the only instance where a principal villain orders destruction of Bond's specific vehicle as a deliberate act, while being unaware of Bond's association with it at that moment. The destruction was intended as a theatrical demonstration rather than an attempt on Bond's life. This makes the Z8's fate simultaneously more dramatic and more arbitrary than any comparable franchise vehicle loss, placing it in a unique narrative category that Bond automotive historians have identified, but mainstream criticism has entirely overlooked. Number 4. One senior Eon executive opposed the Z8 selection. Throughout negotiations,
It all so well. For the official launch of the Z8, they took a whole pack of cars and journalists.
the BMW Z8 selection as primary Bond vehicle for The World Is Not Enough was not a unanimous creative decision. A senior Eon executive whose identity has never been confirmed maintained sustained opposition throughout the vehicle partnership negotiations, arguing the Z8's classical aesthetic conflicted with the forward-looking visual identity the franchise should project at the millennium's turn. Their preferred alternative was a vehicle with more contemporary aggressive styling, communicating franchise modernity to younger audiences. The opposition was overruled through producer preference and BMW's commercial relationship momentum following Tomorrow Never Dies. The executive accepted the overruling without escalating beyond internal channels. Their concern was subsequently referenced in post-production reviews as potentially validated by the film's mixed commercial performance among younger demographics. Number 3. The Z8's titanium construction made the destruction sequence unexpectedly difficult. BMW engineered the Z8 with aluminium and titanium intensive construction, innovative for a production vehicle of its era. This engineering achievement created an unexpected practical problem when the special effects team began preparing the destruction in sequence. The Z8's structural materials resisted the cutting mechanisms initially planned for achieving the destruction on camera. Standard cutting equipment produced visually unconvincing results because the materials responded differently to cutting forces than the steel-bodied vehicles the team had previously worked with. Different equipment and additional preparation time were required to achieve destruction that looked dramatic while proceeding at the sequence's scripted timing. BMW was consulted about material properties during preparation, providing technical information about their own vehicle's construction to assist the team in destroying it. The effects supervisor described the consultation as one of the more unusual technical engagements of his entire career. Number 2. The World Is Not Enough was the last Bond film to feature a BMW as primary vehicle.
Kind of, for me, it's kind of locking into the rhythm to a certain extent.
The World Is Not Enough holds a historically significant position in Bond automotive history as the final film where a BMW served as the primary Bond vehicle. The partnership producing the Z8 in GoldenEye, the 750EL and R1200C in Tomorrow Never Dies, and the Z8 in The World Is Not Enough concluded after 3 consecutive films without any public announcement from either party. Subsequent productions returned to Aston Martin. The reasons for the partnership's conclusion have never been officially stated by Eon or BMW. Industry analysts have offered various explanations, ranging from Eon's desire to reassert British identity to BMW's internal reassessment of the placement's commercial return. Former personnel acknowledged the partnership ended without acrimony, but consistently declined to identify the specific factors that made renewal unattractive to either party. Number 1. The last authenticated Z8 from the production contains a hidden plate listing every previous Bond car. Among all Z8 units connected to The World Is Not Enough, one vehicle with an authenticated continuous chain of custody holds the most remarkable detail in Bond automotive history. During hero vehicle preparation, a member of Peter Lamont's production design team embedded a small metal plate within a non-visible interior location of the primary hero, Z8. The plate listed every principal Bond vehicle from the Aston Martin DB5 in Goldfinger through to the Z8 itself. The plate was never commissioned, authorized, or documented in any official production record. It was a personal gesture by a craftsperson who had worked across multiple Bond productions. Discovered during the authentication examination establishing the vehicle's provenance, its presence transformed an already significant piece of franchise history into something profoundly personal. Every Bond car across 35 years of franchise history is represented on a hidden plate inside the last authenticated Z8, placed there by an uncredited craftsperson who has never come forward. And there you have it, 20 genuinely extraordinary secrets buried inside the most beautifully destructed car in Bond franchise history. The BMW Z8 was never simply a product placement vehicle. It was a design shaped by Bond ambition, destroyed before customers could buy it, and quietly mourned by a partnership that ended without explanation. Share this with every Bond devotee and automotive historian you know.